Let me wrap you in my warm and tender arms. Let me wrap you in my warm tender arms. Well, I love you for a long, long time, darling. Say, oh, you'll be mine. Let me wrap you in my warm tender arms. Now let me wrap you in my warm tender arms. Let me wrap you in my warm tender arms.
Welcome back to the Duncan Showroom, everybody. It's Tuesday, January 9th. Oh, wet and rainy and cold out there, but we have a ray of sunshine for you this afternoon. And thanks to Dr. Ted Cadillac on the board and Longevity John, our host, who is working on his chops today. He's really become with these tape shows, the Merv Griffin, the Arsenio Hall, the Jimmy Fallon of the music world, interviewing his guests as they play, and it's been a fun time. Luckily, I get to host this one, and it's our 10th week. I think we're going to be going till the end of June and then maybe taking a pause, waiting for fan accolades to drive us forward in the fall. So our ray of sunshine today, and in the 21 more years I've known this guy, he will say it's too hot, it's too cold, or complain. And
No.
Hell no. He's just a positive fellow. Mr. Eugene Smith.
Yay!
Woo! Oh, here we got one. I know John says I should memorize these, but I was alive in the 60s as well. Joe Gansher, belated happy birthday from Minerva, Kate, and Charlie in London, Ontario.
Ooh.
Missed last 2 weeks. Well,
Wow.
Joe, you can go online, and they're still there. You can use the same. They're not on the live YouTube channel, are they still, Ted? Just go onto the Duncan Showroom channel and look for the Eugene Smith storytelling. They're all there. Rob says hi from Uxbridge, and Victoria is there. Hi, Victoria. Wow,
Front
10
row
weeks.
seats.
Hey.
For some people were asking me about my hair because whenever we've done these shows, I always have it tied back. So just to let people know that the hair is still there.
Many people haven't seen it. You would never cut that off.
Well,
would you?
well, I did once, but when they were darker. But
Oh.
I saved them too.
You save them. Do
Yeah,
you-
I wear them every once in a while.
Oh, I've seen that. That's right. I remember when you put on the Flopsy wig. How long does it take you to grow them that long?
Well, this is 21 years now.
Holy cannoli. That's a lot of... You could basically make a pretty good rope out of that, couldn't you? If you had to escape from somewhere.
Yes,
Rapunzel,
I could.
you could
Rapunzel, yes. Okay, well, we got a juicy story for you this evening, folks. That's for sure. It's going to be a good one. It might be even in 2 parts. You never know.
Ooh, exciting.
But I'll start off with a song here just for fun and see where we go from there. This is a tune I wrote. It's called Johnny Bailey. He's been out there on the streets since the age of 10, taking chances to stay alive, eating out of a can. The cold winds howl at night. He sleeps curled up in a ball. In the land of play next morning, he'll be down at the mall. Oh, now, do you have a nickel? Do you have a dime? Maybe you'd like to sit, spend a little time. Talk to Johnny Bailey, John Bailey. Johnny Bailey, little John Bailey. You got your dreams, he's got his too. Well, it won't be love like me and you. Talk to Bailey, John Bailey. Talk to Bailey, little John Bailey. Yeah. coming from a family that was shattered and torn. His papa was a real big drunk. His mama wished he'd never been born. They just said the best thing for John, put him up in the boys' home. Never thinking he would run away to make it on his own. Oh, now do you have a nickel? Do you have a dime? Maybe you like to sit, spend a little time. Talk to Johnny Bailey, John Bailey, Johnny Bailey, little John Bailey. You got your dreams, he's got his too. Well, it won't be love like me and you. Talk to Bailey, John Bailey. Talk to Bailey, little John Bailey. Yeah. He met this girl 3 years older than him. One day she up and died. The word had it on the streets. It was suicide. Well, this time, no more we had a time more to get along. He rubbed his ears, blanked his eyes, and then he sang him a song. Now, do you have a nickel? Do you have a dime? Maybe you like to sit, spend a little time. Talk to Johnny Bailey, John Bailey, Johnny Bailey, little John Bailey. You got your dreams, he's got his too. Well, it won't be love like me and you. Yeah.
Whoa, Johnny Bailey. Oh, nice
Woo-hoo.
one.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Now, written about a real character, Gene, or just from your observances of humans?
But basically, it was. I wrote that song when I was living in Toronto, and I used to see all the street kids out there playing their music and panhandling, whatever. And the idea was how I came up with the idea was one of the Covenant House was going to. My idea was to take a bunch of the street kids and take them into the studio and then record some of their music, and then they'd have something to sell on the streets, right? And but there was some inner strife going on with Covenant House, and it almost happened, but it didn't happen. But that's how the song came about.
Well, indicative of your generous nature, my friend. We have we're way across. We're international now. We've got Ian Button. Hi, Eugene. Nice to see you again. Best wishes from Ian and Sue in the UK. Wow, that's great.
Howdy, folks.
Howdy, Carol Gordon again. Linda Olson. Scott Deekbrader. Do you recognize that name? Scott Deek. Did I say that correctly? Deekbrader? Yes. Hi, Scott. Carol says, wow. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Well, the story today. Somebody told me a couple of weeks ago that a song of mine that was on Miami Vice had been played on Holder Peterson's show, CBC, his show that he has. And this song was called Rock by Day, Roll by Night. And in the 80s, I was fortunate enough to hook up with a fellow by the name of Rick Morrison, who had his own studio at his home. And so we started recording material for an album. And at that time, Rick was involved with Roger Whittaker's company, and I think Rick was recording an album of his own. He's a sax player, very good sax player, and he was recording an album of his own in Toronto, and it was Roger Whittaker's company, Tembo Records. And anyways, and also Roger was touring in Canada at the time, and Rick was part of the band. And so one day I get a call from the bass player in the band, and he asked me if I would because I was playing squash then. So he asked me if I would play Roger some games of squash because he had another commitment. So I said, sure, I'd play him. But he says, Eugene, there's one thing you have to understand. You have to let Roger win.
He's a senior.
Well, he says, I said, what? He said, you have to let him win because if you don't, our lives will be hell for the next 2 weeks if he loses on the road. He'll be really. So I said, okay. So we go into the squash court, and of course we start playing. And I suddenly realized after about 5 or 6 or 7 shots that Roger wasn't a great player. You couldn't like he would. So I started to build up points, and then I could see he was getting upset. So I went, oh my goodness, the bass player was right. So I let him win most of the games. I won a few games, but when we finished, he won. He was the big winner of the day, and so he took me out to breakfast. And so he was talking about some songs that I had written while we were having breakfast. And what happened was Rick had taken this song that I had written called Rock by Day, Roll by Night. And how that came about was I always wanted to write a rock and roll song. So I sat down one day and I thought, well, what am I going to call this thing? Rock by Day and Roll by Night. Hey, that's pretty good. So that's how it started out. And so what happened was the president of Rogers' company, got a copy from Rick of Rock by Day and Roll by Night. And he just happened to know the producer of Miami Vice, which was one of the top shows on TV at the time. 30 million people, 15 million people were watching. Do you remember that, Billy? 15 when that was out? Do you remember that?
Do I remember the show?
Yeah, you must have watched it.
I've seen the show, but I think I watched it because of the song. I wasn't a big, I wasn't a big Miami Vice guy.
Well, neither was
Sorry,
I.
Don.
Well, you remember people started wearing it was cool to have no socks in your shoes.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, Rick had given the president a copy of the song, and he knew the producer. So he phoned up the producer and told the producer he had this song that he might be interested in, could use it on a party scene. So he sent it down to the producer of Miami Vice, and of course the producer phoned him back and said that he was going to use it on one of the shows, but he wouldn't tell the president of the company, the record company at Tembo Records. He wouldn't tell us what show it was going to be, and it turned out that it was a big secret because it was going to be the first time that an international star was going to be on their show, and they were going to. And so then we found out the day of. This is what we found out, and it was Phil Collins, and it was the episode that Phil Collins was on. And so if you ever get a chance to watch that episode, which you can do, you can go in and just go Phil Collins rock, Miami Vice. So anyways, and it'll come up. Anyways, so how they started the Phil Collins. Oh yeah. Oh, also I should tell you that because Phil Collins was on that show, another 15 million people tuned into that show because of Phil Collins being on it. And so 30 million people watched this show. Yeah, it was really something. So anyways, how they set it up is Phil Collins at one point goes into a jewelry store and he's looking at some watches. And he's looking at the watches and everything, and the lady behind the counter says, "Can I help you, sir?" He says, "I'd like to buy that one and that one." And he pointed to 2 watches, and she said, "Well, they're both identical watches, sir." He says, "Yes." He says, "One's for day and one's for night." So then it goes on a little bit further. And they're searching Phil Collins' boat because he's supposed to be some kind of coke dealer at this. Phil the Shrill was his name in this episode. And so anyways, they had all the narcs were searching in his boat and everything. And then all of a sudden, my song starts to come. And and then it switches over to the big party at Phil's place. And there he is. And he's got all these girls all around him. And he's bopping along to Rock by Day and Roll by Night. And and there I am singing away. And they kept it going. They just kept that song going and going. Then they go into the part where the house party is, and there's all these people. Now, when somebody's talking, you don't hear me as loudly. But as soon as they stop talking and they're getting ready to go into another segment, my song comes up. Here comes my voice. Rock by day, roll by night, people. People. And it keeps going, but they looped it. And they looped it over and over and over again. So at last, you hear my voice and my song, the Rock by Day, Roll by Night tune. You hear it for about maybe, I don't know, it seemed like a long time, maybe 3 minutes. Let's go 3, maybe 4 minutes, because they just kept it going. Now, how they got out of the song was something else. One of the cast in the show that hung out with Don Johnson and his partner was this Spanish guy with a mustache and really thick glasses. And he walks over to the record player, and it's a 33. And they show you the 33, and he walks over and he bumps it with his knee, and it goes, grrr, I don't want to lose a good thing. So he goes, big, you know how if you bump a needle over across the record, right? It makes that sound, and then it just went right into another song. So that's how they got out of my song. So that was really exciting, and I didn't. The funny thing was, I didn't get to see the show myself when it was on because I was playing someplace. I can't remember where, but I know they had one TV and it wasn't working all that well, and they couldn't get the channel. They were trying to get the channel, but they couldn't. So anyways, I got. My name was never mentioned on the credits or anything because, and here's a little tip for you now. Now, I did get paid for it because I wrote the song, but I didn't get paid big bucks because they put it down as incidental music.
Ooh.
I know.
That's terrible.
Incidentally, we got some money for you here, Eugene. Incidentally, yeah, that's the sound. There you go. So anyways, because it was incidental music, I didn't get paid as much as if it had been a featured song. If Don Johnson and his partner were driving along and all of a sudden my song came on, they were in the car and they weren't talking, they were just, and that's a featured song. So anyways, but it was fun and it was interesting. And then one day, this will top it all off. The song's out there, I don't know, and people are talking about it and everything, and but not everybody, because nobody knew it was me, right? But the people that knew. So then one day, the president of Tembo Records, him and his secretary want to take me out for lunch to celebrate the song being on Miami Vice. So we're at lunch, and the three of us, and we're sitting at the table, and the president looks over at me and he says, "So Eugene," he says, "how does it feel to be a star?" He says, "It must feel pretty good right now to be a star," he says to me. And I said, "What?" He says again. So just as he said that, the waiter walked up, and I looked at him and I said, "Excuse me," I said, "but do you know me? Have you ever seen me before? Do you know who I am?" And the waiter just looked at me and says, "No, sir, I don't." And I turned around and looked at the president and said, "When he knows my name, then I'm a star." Anyways, it was a fun story to tell, and it was a good time, and it was it's all good, yeah.
So true, but I mean, such bullshit in that song is the feature of the darn party, and it makes the party and the pool scene an exciting scene. So what BS they shovel you? The incidental music, my eye. And incidental is Phil's acting. That's what's incidental. I tell you, what a terrible actor. Terrible. They should have had you in the scene. You're a better actor than Phil Collins.
Yeah, well.
There's no justice in the world, Gene. No justice.
No justice. Well, you never know.
We have Stacey Carson. Love hearing your stories. 3 hearts. I think she's new to the listing channel.
Okay.
Deke Brader. We should have known. Who, Scott? Who else do you know named Scott?
Scott Owen.
That's his real name.
That's his real name.
Yeah.
Well, I
Hi,
knew.
Scott.
I was going to say that.
Oh, okay.
I knew.
forgot.
I knew that. I knew who it was, and I was going to say it, but he didn't think that I knew.
Good to have you along for the ride, Scotty.
Yeah. I was going to say that's Scott. I know. What else is going on in the valley here? Anything?
I have no idea. I think they're we're not that far away from 39 Days Satellite
That's right.
Festival. How many days, Ted? Only 3 weeks. It's 22 days. 21 days. That's right. So that'll go really fast, and these guys have a lot of work to do to spiffy up the place for their distance acts, and it's going to be exciting. How many hours a day you figure, Ted, you're going to run?
We're doing 5 bands a day this
Right.
5, eh? Okay.
That's be nice for you. You won't have to run back and forth as much.
I don't have to get up at 9 a.m. and set up the whole park and then turn it all down at midnight and it'll all be set up every day.
That's an amazing amount of work you guys do. And
You're using the upstairs also, aren't you?
As a green room,
Oh, it's the green room. Okay.
we can have more space for people.
right, that'll work good. Yes.
That'll be interesting. I've noticed more places have opened up for business here around here.
Starting this week, there's a few more opening up this week.
Yeah.
And John's been spiffing up the Museum of Musical Treats around us for those who maybe some of the bands or some of the limited audience haven't been in here. So we'll squeak a few bodies in, perhaps, not too many.
That'll be nice. I hear somebody playing the piano.
There's our street piano player serenading Eugene's storytelling series.
Well, I'm digging deep now.
Well, I can I interrupt then before you get rolling, because
Okay.
here I am slamming Phil's acting, and now Longevity John himself was lauded in the press, or the Facebook press. I posted some pictures that I showed of him in Othello. He played Othello in 1995 with the Shawinigan Players. But you have also had a couple of very successful turns on stage with the Mercury Players. You want to just tell us briefly about that, who you played and which plays?
Oh, okay. I can go into that. That'd be very good.
If that's not railroading
Jeez,
your...
thank you, Billy. Thank you. Thank you.
You
Thank
did well
you.
on stage.
Well, it's I've done 2 plays here. I mean, I think I was typecast because they were because both parts were for a black entertainer.
There you go.
A black person. But anyways, the first one I was Lucien P. Smith in The Boys Next Door, I think it was called, and it was four mentally challenged people living in an apartment together for the first time, and what we go through. And we had somebody that would come over to check on us maybe once a week or something like that, and one of the fellas falls in love. But he falls in love with a woman who's also challenged, and it was just the chaos that would happen every once in a while. I think at the time Peter Rustlin was working for the News Leader, and he gave us 11 out of 10 or something like that. I think that's what it was. I believe it was something like that. And then the other one was. I'm Not Rappaport.
Yes.
And I did that with Greg Perry. And it's a 2-man show. There are other people, but I had a lot of lines to learn.
That's a lot of lines in a 2-manner, yeah.
Yeah, Greg had more, but I had a lot of lines too. And so I was asking people who had been in theater here for quite a number of years how they learned that many lines, or just how. And so some people gave me one guy told me that he learned his lines by walking backwards.
Oh, interesting. Yes. Quite often, movement does really help if you.
Well,
get up and
I
move,
tried it, but I fell off the roof.
There you go.
Then I couldn't remember anything. But anyways, so I finally I figured out a way how to learn my lines, and it was really funny because I learned my lines. I didn't realize I was doing this, but I realized I was doing it, but I didn't know how much it meant. I was learning everybody else's lines in the scenes I was in. I would learn their lines, and then my lines would come easy.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I would put their lines on a tape, and then I would turn it on, and their lines would come, and then I would say my lines, and then I'd keep it going, say my lines. Anyways, when we were doing the rehearsals and everything, one day one of the other actors, he said, he stopped everybody. He says, hold it. and he looked down, he says to the director, he says, this guy is good. And he points to me. He says, this guy's good. He says, not only does he know his lines, he knows everybody else's lines, because sometimes when we'd be doing scenes in the rehearsals and they couldn't and somebody would be fumbling for their words because they get lost, I'd go da, 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 da. And I tell them what their lines were, right? And so it was really good. But I also realized that I was the only one in the whole cast in both plays. I was the only one in both plays where I was drinking my sherry and smoking joints backstage outside.
Oh my goodness!
I was the only one.
You reprobate.
I know.
But your memory held true, and your memory's very good today too. I mean,
well, it did. I was really surprised. Actually, I surprised myself, and it was an exercise. Yes.
Now you're advocating for moderation, of course.
Yeah, and then one day, oh, I don't know, maybe months and months and months later, I was shopping one day in Thrifty's or one of the stores, and I turned down this aisle, and this lady's walking toward me, and she goes, my favorite actor. I went, oh my God. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So that's a good road story. Thank you very much.
That is a good story. And, you know, I've been to your house on Banks Road, and I'm thinking, well, that's not much of a stretch for you to play someone in a group home. couple of wackadoodles who share a house. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's unkind. Stacy Carson is Scott's daughter. Well, welcome, Stacy. Oh, we should have known that, too.
Okay. Well, I'll end off today with... Well, good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Well, good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Well, come back again. Oh, long, long, play some more. Well, good night, everybody. Hope you had a good time. Well, good night, everybody. Hope you had a good time. Oh, we'll back it back then. Oh, no, the story's sublime. Boom, 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 body, I don't bound. Boom, 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 boom. Well, good night, everybody. Hope we see you all again. Well, good night, everybody. Hope we see you all again. Well, we know we'll have a good time. Oh, again. Yeah, now. Oh, yeah. Well, good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Well, good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Well, come on back Tuesday night and we'll play you. We're gonna play you. Good night, good night. Well, good night, everybody. Well, good night, everybody. Woo! Well, good night, good night, good night, good night. See you later, alligator. Well, oh, and we'll play some more. Good night, everybody.
Oh, right. That's Eugene Smith, Travels and Tales from the Showroom. Now, Gene, just before we... Oh, the crowd. Settle down, crowd. It's that dummy in the front row. Very noisy. Just before we go, we fill in one bit of information now. I hope you folks will go and look up that Miami Vice episode, because really it's a testament to the talent of our humble friend here that song really is featured in that scene. And what a great song it is. 60 million people or whatever were watching
30.
Surely got a taste of that. And
yeah.
you should not only have been paid, but
Well, no, I did get paid. It's just that there's two ways of getting paid, I guess.
Right.
And I got paid the second way.
Paid well, I should have said. Oh, so my question is, before we go, did that song appear on any album?
Yeah, it's on an album. It's on one of my albums, the album that Rick and I put together, and it's on that album.
You could tell us the name.
I can't
Oh, darn,
remember.
sorry.
I was
he's
trying
toying with us.
I was trying to think of what the name of the album is.
Oh, sorry. I should have sensed that. My mistake. There's our tip jar.
It just says Eugene
thing
Smith,
below.
I think. It just says Eugene Smith. It doesn't say anything about Miami Vice. I know that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. There's our way to add to the tip jar if you want to contribute. That keeps Eugene and the showroom going. And thanks to Longevity John and Dr. Ted and our musical entertainment outside on the sidewalk.
And everybody out there.
And everybody out there, yes, our crowd.
That tuned in tonight. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Carol said this is one of the best.
Just ask him.
Just ask him. He's a great actor. Just ask him.
No, I'm a national treasure now.
Oh, here we go.
God.
I've got to drive him around, and you people have swelled his head to ungainly proportions. It's just, I have to be Dr. Phil, and oh my God. Thanks, everybody, and thanks to Eugene.
Good night, Victoria.
And Victoria. Thank you, Victoria. We will see you next Tuesday.
Okay.
Good night.
Let me wrap you in my warm tender arms. Now let me wrap you in my warm and tender arms. Let me wrap you in my warm and tender arms. Well, I love you for a long, 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 long time, darling. Say you'll be mine. Let me wrap you in my warm. Let me wrap you in my warm. Come on, come on, come on, baby. Come on, let me wrap you in. Let me wrap you in my warm and tender. Oh, come on, 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 come on. Let me wrap you in my warm and tender arms.